We're back on the Exit 52 podcast. It is Wednesday, August 14th. My name is Jake Louque, and I'm joined on my screen by my 6'5" chess playing college graduate RDT, who could twist me or you or anyone into a pretzel. How are we doing tonight?
We're good. We're good. You know, that kind of reminds me of like when you go out to dinner and you buy a steak. We've had some all-time like paragraph kind of answer sentences, responses.
Big year for word salad. Yeah.
Yes. A lot of word salad. People in Baltimore love the word salad. There's a lot of preposterous word salad.
We got to talk to Mike and John. I think that could be the next menu item, the word salad. And it's like an alphabet soup. It's just a bunch of just horse shit crammed into a salad in like word form.
Pretty much. No, we're good. That was a good win. It was a quick win. Boy, did they need that too. After the drubbing last night, it was nice too that it was apparently I think Talk Nats was there. I just looked at his Twitter account. He had it looked like decent seats behind home plate. So
he's a college educated guy. I'd hope he could afford some good seats here and there.
Yeah, those seats are not comfortable for people 6'5", so kind of stinks. But again,
maybe it's Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, maybe it is. But no, after how last night went, the real stinker, the clunker, that got everyone feeling down, coupled with again, the game's not over yet, but the White Sox are up 2-1 on the Yankees. So daddy like. But no, that was a good win. That was a nice fun win. Like it was no real stress. Mayo had a hit. He got the monkey off his back. Cowser had a nice walk, and Jackson with the driving in. My personal friend Gunnar with the home run. So everything kind of went well. We haven't had a game like this in a long time. So it was nice to see.
We were talking in the group chat that we've just been pining for just one of those 10-1, opening day type wins where they go out there, they just put up, 10, 11 runs. The other team doesn't do anything. Just a stress-free kind of win. This certainly was not that, but it was probably as close to it as I felt in months. And yeah, I mean, it's a 2-game series. They obviously get drubbed night one, so it's not all sunshine and roses, but you're right. The vibes were good. I think the admin or admins behind the Orioles account that have been known to have some fun from time to time, they've certainly done it with you and the 2 out of 3 stuff. They got their finger to the pulse here. Right? They had that one in the chamber since the last time these two teams played down in DC, and I think they were praying against prayer that there would be a win amongst these 2 games so they could fire that one off and get out of the chamber finally. So good for them. And yeah, you're right. It was a much needed cathartic win is what it felt like. And I think what really the main story for me is Gunnar Henderson just jacking that ball into Utah Street. It's his 2nd home run since the All-Star break. I've been making the contention that as well as he has been playing, he's been hitting very well. The fact that he's fallen off the home run pace, I think that has done a lot to this team's psyche in a bad way. It's, I think part of their slump. Everyone wants to talk about the pitching and the injuries and Brandon Hyde's decision-making and everything. They need Gunnar playing like an MVP. They need Adley to be a lot better than he's been. And I think if Gunnar can start to channel a little bit more of this going forward, they'll be in a better spot because they're going to have to win some shootouts with the way this pitching staff is looking. Dean Kremer, obviously looked great tonight. He's had his struggles, but Trevor Rogers, I mean, obviously was a controversial trade at the time. He has not repaid the faith of the front office thus yet. Obviously, it's a more long-term trade. They have control on the guy, and they're going to go to work on him this offseason. But as of right now, for a 2024 asset, he is not looking very good. So yeah, overall, we don't have to dwell too much on the negatives as we start this thing off here. But yeah, it really is just Gunnar, and I guess you can get into a little bit. How'd the event go with him the other night? Is this the podcast bump? Can we chalk it up to that?
Yeah, I think we can say that's the podcast bump. It was an awesome event. He was great. It was the first time I had officially met him. We chatted a bunch. And again, it's the conversation going around on my group text. He's massive. He is absolutely much bigger than I thought he would be.
Like 250 then, which is like 310 now.
Yeah, 310 now. He's just a very low, and it's crazy guy that plays stop safety, like you said today. Like he's basically Kyle Hamilton's size. But no, he was awesome. Super nice guy. And yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Like we I was talking to his rep from Boris Corp or whatever. And And he was like, yeah, he's
just an evil sounding name, by the way, Boris.
No, I know, but his guy was great. But he was like, the home runs, he said they're not falling. They haven't been falling. And I talked about it. I talked about Colton telling me that he wanted to give Big Cat shit for not getting picked in the dingers only. And Gunnar was like, I haven't done anything since I got picked in that either. So maybe Colton was getting lucky there. But it was nice to see him. I hadn't even turned the game on yet. And it's 2-0. And, I was like, please, I was like monster bomb. Like, that's what we were talking about in that Yankee series when they came to town about a month ago. Like, man, could you imagine starting the series off with like a Gunnar bomb, like, 410 to right field, something like that. And, that's started the game off today with a Slater bunt. And yeah, I mean, he did that as much as anybody. And I think you're right. I think the team probably exhaled as much as Gunnar did. Like, all right, there he is. And because like you said, he has been hitting. Like, you look at his average and he's still right around like 285, 290. He's floating in that area. Getting on, he just hasn't been hitting home runs. And you can't really say it was the Derby. He didn't hit many home runs before the Derby in that last kind of like 2-week stretch. But yeah, awesome way to start the game.
When did they move him off the leadoff spot?
Maybe like 3 weeks ago. Because remember, Colton came out hot, and they eventually bumped him up, and then they had a couple matchups where they just moved him down, and then Slater's been there, and they've seen it. They've done it a couple different ways, but I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it hasn't been like too long. But
it feels like it's been kind of a while now. And like, I do sort of wonder if that's a part of it, if that gets you off of a rhythm or something. They said on the broadcast tonight that he was getting a little too fast, getting his hands in front of him, technical stuff that I think is probably above both of our heads. But I don't know, man. I just remember him being in that leadoff spot, and he would open the game with a homer, and I'd be like, man, like, it'd be kind of nice if like they would have one guy on or two guys on there, heaven forbid. And then that you turn those into 3 runs. Because he just got that power bat. I do kind of wonder if that has something to do with it. I'd be interested, you don't want to tinker too much. And certainly the Orioles have tinkered in some strange ways. They've come under fire for it a little bit. They did tonight. I mean, shit, they put Austin Slater in the leadoff spot. And the reason that they got an extra run there is because, like you said, he laid down that perfectly executed bunt. I don't know that I've seen a leadoff bunt quite like that in a long, long time. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think it goes into the overall conversation. What does Gunnar need to do to start hitting home runs again? Pretty severely outpaced by, maybe not severely, but definitely outpaced by Anthony Santander now, who hit another one in the most forgettable game of the year last night, obviously, when he jacked that one to right field, which will be forgotten. But yeah, Tony's up to 36 now, and Gunnar just got to 30. So yeah, and Tony had been behind him for a while now, and that just goes to show you kind of how far off that home run pace that he's fallen, and kind of fallen out of that MVP conversation. I'm not sure where the betting odds are right now, but it seems like it's Bobby Witt, it's Aaron Judge, all those guys, and he's kind of fallen into another tier, unfortunately. But if you can start to turn it on, that is going to be absolutely critical for this ball club, because you can overthink things a little bit. I think you can, and there's a lot of things to point to, and they're all valid. Like I said, injuries, bullpen, all this stuff, Hyde, everything. But man, if Gunnar Henderson can start playing like an MVP again, and if Adley can and Adley's starting to pick it up a little bit from the plate too, if those guys can start to turn it around a little bit and start to play as they're capable, I think this team could be a lot more watchable, if not like way, way better than they are, like World Series favorites type, because nobody's really a World Series favorite right now. So if they were to be, they'd be the only one. But yeah, overall, it's life affirming stuff to see him just jack a ball into Utah Street. Nice to see. And nice to see him close out the game too with a nice little play there. Him and little Jackie getting into the mix there. Very nice double play turn. So good stuff all around.
My dad goes, he said, Jackson slides a lot. Like, he dives for a lot of stuff. And I said, you can't get mad at a kid playing in the dirt. Literally, a kid playing in the dirt. Like, that's just T-ball. This is T-ball to him. That's what JoJo did. But yeah, you've nailed it on all the stuff with, the offense. Touch on it at the end. My big thing was, like, we haven't seen him boot a ball. We haven't seen him make a bad throw. Like, that period of time seems to be gone now. Again, I'm still kind of holding my breath every time he makes a throw, but he's making them.
Oh, don't worry. We got Mayo over at third now, and that's a fucking roller coaster every time a ball goes in his direction, including tonight.
Hey. So. He made that play though. He made it. It was
I think Mountcastle made the play, but okay.
He got the ball there. That we'll say that. But yeah. I mean, he has kind of fallen out of the MVP. race. Again, it's a Judge and Soto. You know, hell, they could share it. I think it's going to be one of those two guys. But you know, I'm perfectly fine with them winning MVP if the Orioles can go farther in the playoffs and, you know, make a run at something. And again, like you talked about, no one is really separating themselves. I know on Pick Central today they said, you know, the Orioles, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers versus the field. Like, who would you take? And it's kind of, you know, it's like, you would think you would take teams, but it seems like no one in the AL wants to win the World Series or like play in the playoffs right now. It's been a rough month and a half, 2 months for teams, but it's crazy. But again, it's baseball, and we see the peaks and valleys, and that just goes to show you how impressive that sweepless streak was. Good God, it's been a long week. But yeah, you know, that was a good win. That was fun. Everything kind of clicked, and I know I said it earlier, but the fact that somebody tweeted it, I think it was our buddy Connor, who said the Cowser Mayo holiday, like starting that little run there, like that rally is like that's music to our ears. That's exactly what we've been waiting for, and now it's happening, and you love to see it. They got contributions from a lot of different guys to.
Yeah, getting Holiday and Mayo on at the same time, and then having Adley pop one out there, a little sacrifice fly for a little insurance. That was, I think Kevin Brown made the note that that's exactly what you would have wanted a couple of years ago. That would have been your dreams come true, really. So as much as I was kind of joking about Mayo and the issues in the infield there, obviously that's going to persist, and we'll see where they wind up playing him long term in the field. If there even is a plan necessarily there, I'm not totally sure. But yeah, I think the bat, obviously it's special, and I think it showed tonight. Not only with that, but then he draws a walk. He's just, as much as he's, struck out, he's been off to a rough start as far as putting the bat on the ball. Like those first couple at bats of his career, he showed a lot of patience. He wound up getting on base there. And it's just over. Like it's going to take time. I think Palmer was talking about it with Ripken a little bit. Uncle Cal there on the broadcast about how Cal got off to a rough start, right? He said, I got into my first game there. I think he said he was like 3 for 4. He hit a homer, and he's like, I thought it would just be smooth sailing from there on out. And then he was like, he knew the exact number. He was like, I was 7 for 68 or whatever from there on. And, it's played terrible. Then he made the point that I wound up figuring it out. I got hot, and I went on to win Rookie of the Year. So it can happen in the span of a year. I mean, we've seen it happen with Holiday. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Mayo. We're kind of at a point where, do you even send him back down at this point? We'll see what happens with the health of Westberg and everything and how that's going to affect the calculus of it. But I don't know, sending him down for another 6 weeks, is that really going to do a ton for him? It's almost like just let him struggle while Westberg is still injured, see if he can work his way through that stuff a little bit. And with the fact that everyone is just kind of limping their way to the finish line here, maybe he could get some really valuable seasoning there that you just cannot get when you're down in Norfolk, and he's just a quadruple A guy compared to those guys. He really is an MLB ready bat at this point. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
Yeah, again, I mean, what is him going down there and hitting balls off guys who are going to be working at Legg Mason next year? Like, that doesn't do a damn thing for him. Getting him up here, what's up, Don? Getting him up here in a pennant race. I mean, he's in a pennant race. Like, getting him up here facing the Yankees in the last week of the season, that stuff is going to be valuable to him. And like you said, you can't fake that stuff. You can't replicate it down at Norfolk or anywhere like that. He's going to get experience up here. And again, I mean, I thought tonight all his at bats were very good. Again, he's drawing walks. He's not hitting the ball terribly hard. He's breaking his bat a lot. I know that. I think he broke 2 bats tonight. But yeah, I mean, I think you can let this thing ride out, and again, you can have him start versus a lefty. We talked about it, but if you look at, I mean, he faced pretty much all righties in AAA because there aren't that many good lefties down there. If you're a good lefty, you're up in the bigs. So we don't really know what he can do against lefties, but he can DH against righties, and if you want Ramon there, or you want to start him and then have Ramon come in the 7th or the 8th, just like he did tonight, that's perfectly fine too. But yeah, it will be interesting. We just don't know the timetable with Westberg yet, but yeah, it's gonna be it'll be fun to watch and see what he does and see what the Orioles.
Yeah, and it's just a totally different spot to be in compared to of the season, where guys were, yeah, it's a lot different at the beginning of the season where everyone's healthy at the beginning of the year compared to now where it's like, it's just sort of every team. And we keep reiterating the point, but every team is kind of like a mash unit. Like I said, just limping to the finish line, trying to get across. It's a lot of a different vibe. It's a different environment to be in. And it could be, a little bit more of a learning environment where there was so much pressure on Holiday at the beginning of the year, because it's like, that was all people were focusing on. You're not as focused on the win totals and the race with the Yankees for the AL East and everything. Now everything is kind of focused on that. He can kind of fade into the background a little bit, and people will certainly still, notice when he's not playing that well. Hashtag notice with 2 O's, whatever that trend is. I don't totally get that. But yeah, it's just one of those things where the spotlight it's going to be a little bit off of him. And obviously he's there by necessity as much as anything else. So could be, a valuable learning experience for him. Anything else standing out in this one? I enjoyed, I think it was O'Hearn. He got the hit bouncing it off the pitcher there. I thought that was kind of a weird one. Yeah, the umpire had an interesting call there. Who was it that kind of fouled it into the catcher's glove there? They called it a double play. Just a weird series for the umpires overall. It's fun to watch that continue into a narrative that is spinning out of control at this point.
It was Slater. Slater foul tipped it, and the ball landed behind the plate, which is a foul ball. I think on the plate, I think if the ball is on the plate, it's live. I think it's a live ball. I think that's a fair ball. But it was clearly behind the plate, and he picked it up and tagged him, and then he threw to second, got up Mayo because Mayo didn't know what was happening, but Slater stood there because he fouled the ball off. That's a foul ball. He picked it up behind the plate. So, yeah, another banner night for the umps. That was great. I was very impressed with the pitching tonight. Dean Kremer looked awesome. I think it got to second and third, and you're just like, come on, like don't let this happen, and kind of keep it from exploding, Dean. And that's exactly what he did. And he turned the keys over to the bullpen, and they were lights out. Seranthony may be putting an end to your little pose there, buddy. He looks like the guy who is favored now in the 9th. And again, he's earned it. He looks awesome. I know Soto had a clean inning last night, and they were down a billion runs, but Soto had a clean inning. Cano, looked awesome again tonight. I tweeted out, I think earlier this week or last week, but Cano is for like the last month plus has been very, very good. So that's a big, big weapon for them in the pen now, because they need someone to step up, and it seems like Seranthony and Cano. Rez had a little bit of a hockey swagger tonight on that little comebacker.
The Bulldog.
But yeah, the Bulldog. All the pitching tonight was great. It was a good, it was a nice hard fought win. And again, last night, I mean, credit to the Nats. I tweeted this, that they looked like they wanted it. They were taking extra bases. They had all their young guys doing it. They kind of did what tonight, where young guys are starting everything, whether it was Wood or it was, Abrams and all these guys. That one dude who was down in the minors for 15 years and then goes 3 for 4 with like 3 doubles. That was kind of just how it went. But they split the Masson Cup, so I think the Orioles hold on to it because they've won it, I think, for a while. But yeah, I don't know. That was a fun win. That was, like you said, that was about as good of a win as the Orioles have had in quite some time. And just how it happened and the way that the runs were scored is kind of what makes everyone feel so good. So it was a good one. And they won in the City Connects, not on a Friday. So
yeah, I think it's maybe because it wasn't on a Friday. We'll have to, we're going to have to continue revisiting that until the curse is officially dead. But yeah, it's tough to, I feel like we probably can close the books on my guy, Uncle Craig, until he's absolutely needed to be the closer again, which I hope they're not in that position. I hope Seranthony takes this role and runs with it. It seems like he's doing a solid job. It's nothing that's really blowing me away, not like a prime Felix Bautista, but he finds a way to get guys out, and that's important. I just wish that like he had some kind of quirk or something that I could kind of latch on to, because that way, it's just fun when they get a win and they close it out, and I get to, be silly for a minute. It was just, that was one of my, I talk about my moments of joy. That was a moment of joy for me with Uncle Craig. And if this really is it, I'll give it a nice Viking funeral and say goodbye to it. But yeah, overall bullpen did look solid. Dean Kremer looked fantastic. It makes you wonder. I mean, are we going to see Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Dean? Like, is that whole act going to continue here? I hope we get more quality starts than we do not from here on out, because they're really going to need it with the way Rogers is not panning out for them. And who knows how long it's going to take some of these relievers to get back to provide, help in the bullpen, whether it's Coulomb or Webb or anything like that. So overall, it's, it's just one of those things where we say, I feel like we've done this a couple times. So it's like, man, a lot of fun win here. Is this going to be kind of the springboard moment? not really sure the springboard moment is coming. It's just about winning as many games as you possibly can. So it's just, you know, you can't count on series wins like you could at the beginning of the season. Every game from here on out is going to be white knuckle, kind of gripping the edge of your seat. I feel like this is probably as comfortable of a win as they're going to. I mean, hopefully not, but it just feels like this is probably best case scenario type win for them while they're still figuring this thing out with Westberg's health and everything, and Grayson coming back and all that stuff. So not to bring it in a negative point. It's a good feeling. I just want to see as many of these as we can going forward.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I said it the other night, I forget who, but like, you know, you really only feel comfortable right now when it's Eflin and when it's Corbin starting. The other three are kind of like, I don't know, kind of the over and pray that, you know, that the Orioles can squeak one out. But, you know, like you said, they got plenty, they got not plenty of time, but they got time to figure it out. And they need these guys to step up. This is where you kind of have to look into yourself and say, you know, you're pitching your balls off. There's what, 40 games left. This is where, you know, you can make a lot of money. You can kind of solidify yourself. You can make yourself known. This is a perfect spot for a guy like Rogers, or again, another bullpen guy. You know, they need these guys to step up. So it's time to do that. And again, kind of looking forward. I know the Red Sox lost. They come into town for 4 tomorrow. They pitched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys tonight. So again, the Orioles had a pretty, you know, they saved most of their bullpen. And they and the Red Sox come in using 6 guys, 5 guys out of the bullpen. So you're just looking kind of looking forward to stuff like that. And again, we kind of just keep an eye on the Yankees and Chicago score. That is still 2-1, I believe. Yes, with the Yankees have guys on and 2 outs in the 6th. So good win. 71-50. You take that.
Yeah, and it feels like it feels like a really good opportunity to just kind of dump some dirt onto the Red Sox hopes here to try and surge up and make the postseason or even win the AL East. I mean, they're still kind of in striking distance to do that, I think. So that will be very ideal if you can go out there and win 3 of 4. And obviously, I said that's like it kind of feels like living on a prayer at this point. I think they're probably best case scenario. If I had to handicap it right now, I'd probably look at a 2-2 split here with the Sox coming to town. But overall, if they can get that and just kind of keep pace with the Yankees, and then go for that photo finish that whoever that clown was in the 1500 millimeter that ran down that other guy, you want to be that guy at the end. You know, you got to conserve your energy, do what you got to do, and just keep the AL East in mind, because everyone keeps talking about, man, what are they going to do in the playoffs? What are they going to? Well, you got to get there first. You got to win the AL East first. You got to make the route through the playoffs as easy as possible. That is absolutely the #1 priority. So I think it starts with driving a stake through the Red Sox heart if you're able to do that. So let's sack up here, guys. Gunnar Henderson, let's start hitting home runs again. Adley Rutschman, let's work on that dog shit body language. Let's maybe watch some I Think You Should Leave sketches and get the vibes back up. I think we need these guys starting to feel themselves a little again, start to feel that frat boy swagger that we know and love them for.
Yeah, and again, I mean, keep riding the hot battle, Little Jackie and Santander, and Anthony had some bad at bats tonight. I thought, we've seen some good at bats from him lately. You can't pile on him too much, but again, if Little Jackie and Colton want to keep going, sure, let's ride it. Let's keep doing that, and get a couple guys contributing, and then you'll fill in the rest with some other pieces. And again, I mean, they're bound to wake up. They have to wake up. All the guys, they're going to get going at some point. And why not tonight? Why not have this game, kind of kickstart them and go from there, leading into, again, I tweeted it out and people kind of shit on it, being like, oh, you can't count on these as wins. But I said, I mean, that schedule at the end of at the end of August, and then going into September, there's some winnable series there. I mean, look, they end August 3 versus Colorado, 3 versus the White Sox, 3 versus Tampa, 3 against Boston, 3 against Detroit, 3 against San Fran, 3 against Detroit, and then they finish with New York and Minnesota. You got to win, obviously, but the Orioles have an opportunity in front of them to really, really stack win. And again, I think somebody was saying that it's been like 45 games or something like that. They've more than 2 in a row, and again, it just seems like they can't link these winning streaks together. There's not the 4 or 5 game, 6 game, there's no 8-2 in their last 10 or anything. So kind of a perfect time for that coming up for them to find their footing and hopefully get some room between them and the Yankees. Also have these schedule. So
Yep, absolutely. All right, bud. Anything else on this little mini series that we are in here to discuss?
No, good stuff with you and Spenny in the Sam studio. Oh, we're calling it the Clipper City studio.
Yep.
Is that what it is? We need to come up
Clipper
with
City Barber. I called it the Clipper City Barber. I think I was listening back to the show. I think I called it Clipper City Barbecue when I in my opener. Not to call myself out. Nobody else noticed that, but for keep myself honest. But it is the Clipper City Barber Company on Thames Street down in Fells Point, right in the heart of Fells Point, where all the Wooders meeting up, and you got Barcosina and Horse and all that right around the corner. A very, very fond, place in my heart. So it was good to get down there and get into the studio. Sam seems like a good dude, and he's got a really good setup in there. So if you want to get in there yourself, do some watch parties, maybe you got a podcast of your own, you want to record out of there, he is making the space available for people. So hit him up on Instagram. We're promoting him. I don't know their Instagram handle off the top of my head. You can probably I think you can find it just by searching Clipper City Barber Co. And hit him up. And if you're interested,
Clipper City Barber Company.
Yep, there you go. So hit him up if you're interested. We'll be doing plenty of stuff out there. We're obviously we did the jumbo set. I think we'll try to do as many of those in there as we can. I know you talked about getting in there and doing some Orioles stuff. We can hopefully get some watch parties together as these games get a little more high leverage, and then obviously Ravens season starting up. Things are in full swing here for Baltimore sports. Exciting times. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the first jumbo set out of there. And like I said, plenty more to come. If you liked what you saw on that or on this live stream, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, comment on all the videos, comment on the live streams, get involved, comment on the videos, get the algorithm pumping for us, tell a friend, and spread us around as much as you can. We appreciate it. You can find us on social media as well at Exit 52 Podcast on X. I am at Jake Louque. That's LOUQUE. Eric is at EDITTI22. I think Eric and Brian are actually going to do some sort of X Spaces thing where they're going to get together for a couple hours and just talk about the coming NFL season. I think they're going to kind of butter each other up a little bit, talk about the Ravens on Brian's side and the Titans on Eric's side. You're very, very excited about that, aren't you?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. I wanted Judon. They didn't get him, but whatever. I'm good with I'm good with where we are.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, so did I. I mean, $6.5 million. That's very doable. What are you doing, Ravens? Take your, get your hand back on the switch here.
They weren't going to trade him. Not to the AFC.
I mean, they could have. He might have wanted to go there.
It would have been.
He loves Baltimore. He never wanted to leave here.
He came to one of the tailgates.
You say
literally at a tailgate during the Patriots bye week.
That's what I'm saying. He would have loved to come back here, and you're saying they wouldn't trade him in the AFC. You're talking about the Titans getting him, and you're tripping over. Yeah. You're twisting yourself into a pretzel to stay with the theme of the show.
I'm just saying, I wanted him. I knew they weren't going to do it, but I wanted him. But
okay, body built by Taco Bell. Well, that's much appreciated. Like I said, you can find us on X at Jake Louque at EDITTI22. You can find Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4. Brian at Barstool Banks, and Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10. Thank you guys for listening to our little mini recap series pod. We will be back very soon with more content, and we'll be coming at you. Thanks again.